Hey there! If you love learning cool facts about celebrities and their amazing homes, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button for celeb info updates and turn on the bell so you never miss our fun videos about famous people and their incredible lives. Hidden in the hills of Malibu, where you can smell the ocean and everything is super quiet, there's a huge house that's 7,000 square feet big. It's covered in sunshine and kept really simple. This isn't some fancy mansion owned by a super rich business person. Nope! This is the special home of a woman who used to be one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, but then chose to live close to nature with her family instead of all the shiny, glamorous stuff. So what does Sally Field's life really look like when she's not acting in movies? Let's go inside and find out. Before all the fame, the awards, and the fans who loved her, there was a city called Pasadena. Sally Field came into this world on November 6, 1946. Her life had both fancy Hollywood stuff and some really tough times mixed together. Her mom, Margaret Field, was an actress too. Her dad, Richard Dryenfield, had fought in World War II and worked as a pharmacist. But behind all the nice smiles and normal neighborhood life, young Sally's world was about to get really complicated. When Sally was only 4 years old, her parents split up and got divorced. Then when she was just 6, her mother married another man named Jock Mahoney, who was an actor and did stunts in movies. Even though everything looked like a perfect Hollywood fairy tale from the outside, the real truth was much darker and sadder. Many years later, Sally wrote a book called In Pieces, where she finally told everyone about the pain she had kept secret for so long. She shared that her stepfather had hurt her in very bad ways when she was young. This was a secret she carried inside her heart for years and years. But somehow, even while going through all this emotional pain, she found something that helped her: performing and acting. When Sally was a teenager at Birmingham High School, she was a cheerleader. She was full of energy and trying to figure out the confusing world around her. But the thing that really helped her escape was when she walked into an acting class. For the very first time, she found a place where she could just breathe and be herself. Nobody watching a TV show called Gidget in 1965 could have guessed all the personal and painful stuff that was hiding behind Sally's big, happy smile. Everyone in America thought she was super sweet. She was riding waves and being all charming like a teenager. But behind all the cameras and scripts, Sally was already wanting something more meaningful. Gidget got canceled after just one season. But ABC, the TV company, saw that Sally had something special, so they gave her another chance with a new show. This time it was called The Flying Nun. This role made her a huge star, but it also trapped her. She was stuck playing the always happy, simple girl next door type. There wasn't much depth to the character. Everyone praised her, but they also put her in a box. The men who directed her didn't take her seriously as a real actress. Inside, Sally was starting to feel like she was breaking apart. So she did something really brave and different. She disappeared, not from acting completely, but from being in the spotlight. She went to study with a really famous teacher named Lee Strasberg at a place called the Actors Studio. It was at this acting school that Sally finally dropped the fake mask she had been wearing. She learned to really feel everything deeply and face all her old wounds and pain. And when she came back to Hollywood, she didn't just come back normally. She came back like an explosion. In 1976, Sally was in a movie called Sybil, where she played a woman who had multiple personalities living inside her mind. It was a spooky, complicated performance that amazed all the movie critics. She won an Emmy Award for it. She had finally proved to everyone that she was a serious, talented actress. But she wasn't finished yet. In 1979, she starred in a movie called Norma Ray. She played a woman from the South who worked in a factory making clothes and became a hero fighting for workers' rights. The movie was powerful, political, and personal all at once. This film won her an Oscar, her very first one. Just 5 years after that, another movie called Places in the Heart won her a second Oscar. Then came a flood of movies that everyone remembers: Steel Magnolias, Mrs. Doubtfire, Forrest Gump, and a TV show called Brothers and Sisters. In every single one, she showed heartbreak and real human emotions in every scene. She also directed movies. She challenged the Hollywood system. She got older without being ashamed or trying to hide it. And through everything, she never stopped growing and changing as a person and an actress. Sally Field didn't just break. Free from the boring roles Hollywood wanted to keep her in, she completely melted down those old ideas and created something totally new and all her own. So what kind of home does a woman like that choose? A woman who has been through so many storms and victories, so much fame and pain. What kind of house does she build when it's just for herself, her family, and the peaceful sound of coastal winds? We're about to find out. Just beyond the cliffs of Malibu, there's a hidden home that has the answer. And now it's time for us to walk through the gates. Sally's home in Malibu is easy to miss if you're not looking for it. Hidden along a street called Bonsall Drive in Malibu, far away from crowded beaches where photographers hang out, there's a piece of land that's 3.2 acres big and super peaceful. It's the kind of place you don't just stumble upon by accident, you have to look for it on purpose, and Sally Field found it. The house isn't loud or flashy. It doesn't try to get attention or show off with gold decorations. Instead, it whispers quietly. Tucked against the canyon walls and just 20 minutes away from Santa Monica, this one-story Malibu home spreads across 7,000 square feet of light, fresh air, and calmness. Let's walk inside. Past the wrought-iron gates, there's a curvy driveway that winds through beautiful green gardens. You start to feel something change. All the noise from the outside world just melts away. Then you arrive at a home that feels less like a fancy mansion and more like a warm hug from someone you love. The main house unfolds gently and peacefully. There are 3 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms. Each room is filled with natural light coming through the windows. The hardwood floors feel warm when you walk on them. Everything is grounded in simplicity and comfort. But it's the kitchen that speaks first when you walk in. This isn't some fake kitchen just for show. It's a real playground for someone who loves cooking. It's fully set up with Viking appliances, which are really fancy cooking machines, stone countertops, and open views that let sunshine dance across every cabinet. From the kitchen, your eyes naturally drift toward the French doors. These are glass door windows that frame the world outside like moving artwork. When those doors swing open, you're not just stepping onto a regular patio, you're entering your own private nature park. The backyard is like a living painting. There are citrus trees like lemon and orange trees, flowering vines climbing everywhere, and a 50-foot-long freshwater swimming pool with a diving board that makes you want to be a kid again. There's even an outdoor shower with 2 shower heads because sometimes you just need to wash away the day while standing under the open sky. A fire pit sits crackling in the corner. The kind that knows all the secrets people tell at midnight. Right beside it, there's a private putting green, a mini golf area, with special lights. This is where family members have competitions that turn into lots of laughing and lazy evenings that become special memories. But the real special sanctuary waits at the end of a quiet hallway. The main bedroom suite isn't just a bedroom. It's like a peaceful hush in the form of a room. It has heated floors beneath your feet, garden views outside every window, and spa-like touches everywhere. There's a steam shower and 2 sinks side by side, called twin vanities. The space offers daily routines wrapped in calm and peace. Everything in this house was chosen on purpose. From solar panels that power the entire property to Tesla power walls and a private well with smart watering systems for the plants. This home doesn't just respect nature, it works together with nature as a partner. It's elegant without being snobbish, it's luxurious without being noisy or showing off. And yes, there's even a separate guest house. It has 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and a full kitchen. Whether it's a child visiting, a close friend staying over, or someone who needs some alone time, this space gives them privacy without making them feel far away. Here, every corner has a reason for being there. Sally Field doesn't collect things just to have them. She collects meaning and purpose. This home isn't just a trophy property to show off. It's the reflection of a woman who has seen the highest highs and lowest lows of fame. A woman who has felt both applause from crowds and complete silence, and who now finds her greatest happiness in the rhythm of wind blowing through canyon trees. So the next time you wonder where Hollywood royalty goes when the curtains close and the show is over, remember this place. Not because of how many square feet it has, but because of the soul it protects and shelters. And just when you think this Malibu home is the center of her world, with its sunshine, canyon peace, and slow mornings in the spa bath, you realize Sally Field had another retreat tucked even closer to the city. A second home where elegance meets being high up. Let's head there now. If the Malibu home is Sally Field's retreat into nature, then her Pacific Palisades mansion is her quiet return to the city. It's elevated, refined, and carefully chosen. She bought this home in 2012 for $2.3 million, but its true value has never been in the money. It's in the feeling you get when you're there. Tucked into a gated community where celebrities live, On over 13,000 square feet of private land, this home doesn't scream for attention, it sings, and its song is one of peace. As you get close, the driveway curves gracefully. It's surrounded by greenery that blocks out the rest of this world. There are no tall, mean-looking fences or harsh straight lines, just soft edges and natural shadows. It's like the house was always meant to grow right out of the hillside. Step inside and you immediately feel the tone. Light, space, and openness everywhere. The ground floor flows like water. There's a formal living room, a dining room, and a welcoming family space. They're all stitched together by French doors that open to the outdoors. You can imagine Sally here, barefoot on the cool hardwood floors with music playing softly. The smell of lemon from the trees outside drifts into the kitchen. And oh, that kitchen. For a woman who has played so many different roles in her life, this might be her favorite stage of all. It has granite countertops, a breakfast area flooded with sunshine, and Viking appliances ready for everything from big holiday feasts to late-night tea. But what makes this space feel most like hers is the quiet. It's not trying to perform or impress anyone. It's personal and real. Upstairs, the home opens up into 4 big bedrooms. Each one has its own character and personality. 2 rooms have vaulted ceilings, really high ceilings, and dramatic windows that frame the canyon light like a painting. One room opens onto a private balcony, perfect for morning coffee or reading pages of a movie script. Another bedroom has a loft, a special raised area, that could be a creative hideaway, a child's dream space, or just a place for daydreaming. But the true jewel is the main bedroom suite. It's a cocoon of soft light and soft textures. It has a fireplace for those rare, cold Los Angeles nights, custom walk-in closets, and a bathroom that could belong in a fancy Italian spa. There's a clawfoot bathtub beneath 2 skylights in the ceiling, a rain shower framed in glass, and double sinks carved with elegance. It's the kind of room where time slows down, where thoughts become still, where a woman who has seen the entire world comes home to herself. Outside, the backyard feels like a secret garden. It's not huge and grand, but it's graceful and beautiful. There are no neighbors in sight, no power lines overhead, just green everywhere. There's a shimmering PebbleTech pool, a special kind of pool surface, an integrated spa, hot tub, and outdoor speakers hidden in the plants. It's a perfect setup for weekend family barbecues or swimming alone under the moonlight. And if you think Sally lives alone, think again. The guest house is charming and totally separate. It has its own entrance, kitchen, and full bathroom. It's ideal for visiting sons, old friends, or maybe a quiet writer's escape. There's even a home office with its own private entrance because even legends need a door they can close when it's time to work. If you own a Tesla car, you're not forgotten either. The garage has a dedicated Tesla supercharger for charging the car. Even caring about the environment finds a home here. But beyond the granite countertops, beyond the pool, beyond all the privacy, this house tells a deeper story. It's the story of a woman who has built a life that doesn't need attention from others, just intention and purpose. Every room, every window, every quiet moment baked into the walls of this place reflects a truth Sally Field has always known. Real comfort isn't about perfection, it's about being present. And here in this graceful corner of Pacific Palisades, that comfort is absolutely everywhere. But let's not forget, Sally isn't just defined by where she lives, she's also defined by how she moves through the world. So what does she drive when she's not on a movie set or performing on stage? Let's take a closer look. You can tell a lot about a person by what they drive. Some people collect cars like they're collecting trophies. Other people choose them like companions, for comfort, for reliability, or for the quiet pleasure of driving on the road. Sally chooses her cars with her heart. Her garage isn't packed with Ferraris or Lamborghinis. Instead, each car tells a different chapter of her life, understated, meaningful, and totally hers. 63, Ford Galaxy 500. It's impossible not to smile when you think about this one. A wide-bodied beauty from the golden era of American cars. Sally's Galaxy 500 isn't just a car, it's a time capsule. It's easy to picture her at age 19, just breaking into television, riding down Ventura Boulevard in this polished piece of steel. The car had style, but not the flashy kind. Chrome details, round tail lights, and a low growl when the engine started up. Maybe she drove it to her first big audition. Maybe it was her escape after long days on set. What we do know is this, that Galaxy was freedom wrapped in vinyl and horsepower. A reminder of where it all began. Lexus RX 350. Fast forward several decades and Sally's choice of car has matured just like she has. Her Lexus RX 350 is a luxury midsize SUV that's calm, capable, and comfortable. With its 3.5-liter V6 engine and smooth suspension, it glides through California traffic without ever being loud or demanding attention. This isn't a car that turns heads, it's a car that turns pages, of scripts, of chapters, of life itself. It has leather seats, a panoramic moonroof, a big sunroof, and safety features that make family road trips feel like relaxing Sunday drives. It's the vehicle you pick when fame isn't your destination, but peace is. And for Sally, who has always preferred being real over being loud and flashy, the RX 350 fits like a second skin. Lincoln Town Car Stretch Limousine. But every once in a while the world demands a little sparkle and glamour. Enter the Lincoln Town Car Stretch Limousine. Long, elegant, and unmistakably Hollywood, this limo represents a very different part of Sally's life. Award nights, fancy galas, red carpets, you can almost see the camera flashes popping. Under the hood, there's a 4.6-liter V8 engine. Inside, there are privacy dividers, plush seating, and champagne glasses waiting for celebration. But what sets this limo apart isn't just what it is, it's what it meant to Sally. For a woman who once felt invisible in her own home, pulling up to the Oscars in a vehicle made for royalty wasn't about ego or showing off. It was about reclaiming space, owning the moment, arriving on her own terms. Each car in Sally Field's collection holds a memory, a milestone, a message. She doesn't drive to impress people. She drives to move through life, through emotions, through transformation. So whether it's the nostalgic hum of her Galaxy, the steady hum of her Lexus, or the quiet power of that stretch limo's arrival, they all share one thing in common. They are reflections of a woman who has always chosen being authentic over getting attention. But speaking of being authentic, let's talk about how all of this was made possible. From sitcom paychecks to Oscar-winning roles, how did Sally Field build a net worth that supports not one but multiple peaceful havens? Let's take a look. Sally Field isn't loud about her money. You won't see her on fancy yachts in Italy or bidding on diamond-covered watches at auctions. But behind the modest smiles and Malibu breeze, there's a quiet fortune. One built not overnight, but over decades of craft, reinvention, and resilience. Today, Sally Field's net worth is estimated at $50 million. But how did she get there? Let's rewind to the 1960s. When Sally landed the role in Gidget, she was paid $500 a week. That doesn't sound like much until you adjust for inflation, which means accounting for how prices change over time. In today's dollars, that's around $5,000 per week for a young actress just getting her feet wet. A few years later, the Flying Nun gave her a steady paycheck, $4,000 per episode. That would be about $40,000 today. The show ran for 82 episodes, which means she made the equivalent of over $3.4 million in modern money. Not bad for someone who once had to smile through scripts she didn't even believe in. But it wasn't until she broke out of the sitcom girl mold that the real money and freedom began to flow. With Sybil, Sally won critical respect from movie critics. With Norma Ray, she won an Oscar and leverage in Hollywood. Her paychecks soared, not because she demanded them, but because she earned them. With every performance, she proved that substance sells, and the movie industry listened carefully. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, she starred in hit after hit. Steel Magnolias, Mrs. Doubtfire, Forrest Gump. Each role came with a salary bump, back-end points, which means getting paid based on how much money the movie makes, and above all, reputation equity. By the time she starred in Brothers and Sisters in the 2000s, Sally was earning $100,000 per episode. And when she took on producer duties midway through the show's run, her pay doubled to $200,000 per episode. That's the kind of income that builds Malibu estates and Pacific Palisades mansions. But unlike many stars, Sally never made wealth her identity. No flashy real estate flipping, no aggressive brand deals or endorsements she didn't believe in. Her fortune was and remains a byproduct of the work, of the roles she chose, the characters she inhabited, the truth she told again and again on screen. And what does she do with that fortune? She plants it into things that last, homes with soul, time with family, and causes that matter deeply to her. But we'll get to that in a moment because Sally Field's money may be quiet, but her heart has never stopped speaking loudly. Sally Field didn't become an activist because someone handed her a check or because she wanted good publicity. She became an activist because she had no other choice. When you've survived silence, when you've stared down shame, fear, and injustice, there comes a moment when you decide you either keep quiet forever or you speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. And Sally Field chose to speak up. It started with a medical diagnosis. In 2005, Sally was told she had osteoporosis, a disease that makes bones weak and brittle. The news was personal and frightening, but instead of letting fear take over, she turned it into act. And she launched Rally with Sally for Bone Health, a campaign that aimed to raise awareness about this silent disease. It was backed by a pharmaceutical company called Roche and GlaxoSmithKline. The campaign was part educational movement, part call to action. It also promoted a medication called Boniva, which sparked headlines and some criticism from people. But Sally wasn't just endorsing a pill. She was telling millions of women, "You matter, your health matters, don't wait to be heard." That's where her activism began, and it never stopped. In 2007, Sally stood on stage at the Emmys. She was accepting her award for Brothers and Sisters. She looked out at the crowd and said, "If mothers ruled the world, there wouldn't be any damn wars." The room erupted with applause, but not everyone was pleased. Fox Broadcasting cut the sound and pulled the camera away mid-sentence. Why? Because Sally had dared to be real and speak truth without a filter. But that moment didn't silence her. It only made her voice louder and stronger. She joined the Vital Voices Global Partnership, which is an international organization that empowers female leaders around the world. She served on the board of directors. She co-hosted the Global Leadership Awards not once but 6 times. She believed deeply that when women rise up, entire communities heal. And her fight for women's rights wasn't just global, it was personal. Having experienced a traumatic illegal abortion when she was just 17 years old, Sally became an unapologetic voice for reproductive rights in America. She marched, she spoke up, she refused to be erased from the conversation. Then came LGBTQ+ rights, another cause very close to her heart. Why? Because her youngest son, Samuel Griezmann, is gay. In 2012, Sally accepted the HRC Ally for Equality Award. She didn't accept it as a celebrity, but as a mother. She stood before the crowd and said, "I believe Sam was put on this earth for the same reason we all are, to love and be loved openly and honestly." No amount of applause could match the sincerity in her voice. And when climate change became too loud to ignore, Sally didn't just post hashtags on social media, she showed up. In 2019, she was arrested at a climate protest in Washington, D.C. It was led by actress Jane Fonda. Sally was handcuffed and escorted out by police. But she was smiling the whole time. Why? Because she knew that sometimes breaking the law was the only way to protect what's lawful, our planet and our future. Sally's activism is not a performance. It's personal, it's lived, it's brave, and it flows into everything else she does. The homes she builds, the cars she drives, the causes she lifts up. She doesn't need a spotlight to make an impact. She just needs truth. And when you stand in her Malibu backyard or stroll through the gardens of our Palisades retreat, you feel it. This is a woman who has built her life not just around peace, but around purpose. But what does that purpose look like when the cameras are off and the world stops watching? Let's step into the most intimate part of her story, her personal life. So what does a life look like when the movie scripts are finished, the awards are sitting on shelves, and the red carpet is long behind you? For Sally Field, it looks beautifully ordinary, and that's exactly what makes it so extraordinary. These days, she's not chasing movie premieres or press junkets, which are media interviews. She's tending to something far quieter, herself. At 78 years old, Sally has carved out a rhythm that many people dream of, but few dare to embrace. One that's rooted in family, daily rituals, nature, and being present in the moment. Her mornings often begin in Malibu, not with assistants or stylists rushing around, but with the soft rustle of canyon winds and the hum of a kettle warming on the Viking stove. She likes it quiet here, just the company of her own thoughts. Maybe she's reading a script for a friend, or the newspaper is folded beside a half-finished crossword puzzle. Family is always at the center of her life. She has 3 sons, Peter, Eli, and Sam. They visit often, and when they do, they bring life to the hallways. You can hear laughter bouncing off stone patios, smell something delicious roasting in the oven, and hear old memories being revisited with fresh eyes. Her bond with her youngest son, Samuel Greisman, is particularly special. They're not just mother and son, they're confidants, people who share secrets and trust each other deeply. He's a screenwriter now, walking the same creative path she once paved. And she cheers him on, not as an icon or legend, but simply as mom. When she's in her Pacific Palisades home, Sally often retreats to the upstairs loft with a cup of chamomile tea and a journal. She still writes, still reflects, still returns to that young girl inside her who always needed a safe space to land. The backyard pool glistens under the sun, but more often than not, it's the garden that calls to her. She's pruning a bush, checking the citrus trees, or digging her hands into the soil like it holds answers. And maybe it does. She travels less now. She prefers California's familiar skies, though she'll sometimes escape to a friend's retreat in the desert. There she can disappear into a book, a real book with pages, not pixels on a screen. No social media, no headlines, just the comfort of story. And when she does venture into public life, for a play, a speech, or a cause she believes in, she does so with the grace of someone who knows what truly matters. She's not chasing relevance or trying to stay famous. She's chasing truth. Sometimes she'll host dinner at home. It's a modest spread of roasted vegetables and perhaps a lemon tart she made from scratch. The conversation is never about the movie industry. It's always about people, feelings, ideas, justice, the things that last forever. Sally Field has never needed a spotlight to feel seen. Why? Because she sees herself now, clearly and completely. And in this chapter of her life, peace isn't the absence of noise, it's the presence of everything she loves. A sun-drenched room, a dog curled at her feet, a garden that forgives every pruning mistake, a family that shows up, and the quiet knowledge that she made it, not just to the top of her craft, but to the heart of her own life. And maybe that's the question we're all left with. What happens when a woman finally lets herself just be? There's something poetic about it, isn't there? That one of Hollywood's most decorated actresses, with 2 Oscars, 3 Emmys, and a legacy stretching across generations, chose a quiet home in the canyon over a palace in the hills. That the woman who once filled theaters with her voice now finds joy in a kitchen filled with sunlight, a garden humming with bees, and a journal half filled with thoughts no one else will ever read. Sally Field didn't just survive the movie industry, she transcended it. She made peace with her past, found power in her pain, and created a life that values depth over dazzle. When you look at her Malibu estate, you don't see ego. You see elegance. You see intention. You see a woman who built not just a home, but a haven. The same is true of her Pacific Palisades retreat. Every corner says, this is someone who has nothing left to prove and everything left to feel. Her wealth is quiet. Her presence is immense. Her legacy is still unfolding. So maybe the real question isn't, what does Sally Field own? Maybe it's, what has she held on to? Her voice, her truth, her family, her peace. And that might just be the greatest fortune of all. If this story moved you, inspired you, or simply made you pause and think, don't let it end here. Click that subscribe button for space info, turn on notifications, and share in the comments below. What part of Sally Field's journey resonated with you the most? Because here at Celeb Info Updates, we don't just tour mansions, we explore lives, we celebrate quiet legends, and we find the meaning behind the marble and luxury. This has been Sally Field's Malibu estate, a beloved actress's haven of family, nature, and simplicity. We'll see you in the next story.